Hey everybody, Daniel Dummer here. This is going to be entry number 3 in my reversal of the Beatitudes study. Entry number 3. We're going to find the original verse. This is in Matthew chapter 5, verse 5. And it says, "Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth." Now, if you look at that in the King James Version or the English Standard Version, it's going to render it, "Blessed are the meek." So, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. This is a very widely known but often misunderstood verse in the scriptures. So we're going to break it down first. The true meaning of meekness. Now, the word Jesus uses in Matthew chapter 5, verse 5 is the Greek word praos. It does not mean weak, and it does not mean passive. This is talking actually about disciplined strength. It's talking about controlled power, restrained might. Now, this term was used in classical Greek actually to describe something like a wild stallion that had been tamed for battle. Now, the way that we normally think about meekness, we wouldn't think of a wild stallion tamed for battle as being meek, but that is exactly what that word actually means. It's talking about something that is still but powerful, still fierce, but bridled and submitted to its rider. Now, see, a seasoned warrior who chooses to yield when provoked, not because he's weak, but because he's governed by a higher authority, that's meekness. And it's the difference between harmless, which is no power, versus peaceful, which is power withheld in reverence to righteousness. See, a meek man or woman could retaliate, but doesn't. They have authority, but they're going to wait for orders. You see, they carry weapons, but they use them only when the king commands. So, contrary to what a lot of people may misunderstand, meekness is not cowardice. It is consecrated strength. Now, see, that flips the entire worldly system. Because the earth is not given to the loudest voice or the strongest hand or the most aggressive leader. It's given to those who wait upon the Lord and wield their strength in obedience to Him. So the true beatitude here, it's really actually about the power of meekness. This verse is radically countercultural, both then and now. See, Jesus declares that it's not the bold, it's not the forceful, it's not even the violent or the powerful who will inherit the earth, but the meek. Meekness does not equal weakness. See, biblical meekness is power under submission. It's strength restrained by righteousness. So we can see this, that the meek are not silent because they have nothing to say. They're silent because they trust the one who judges rightly. You can look at 1 Peter 2:23 on that one. So this beatitude here points to those who trust God's judgment and trust God's justice more than their own strength, and therefore they wait, they endure, and they obey, even when the world passes them by. So the word connection here, meekness in the Beatitudes, is also the same as in the fruit of the Spirit. Galatians 5:22 through 23, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness or meekness, self-control. That word gentleness is prioutis, the noun form of the adjective prius, the same root concept of power under divine restraint. Now, the implication here is that this is not a coincidence. It's a deep structural link between the kingdom character that Jesus blesses and the spirit-filled life that Paul describes. It tells us something biblical, and it tells us something critical. Meekness is not a personality trait. It is a supernatural fruit. It's the byproduct of the Spirit reigning within, and it's cultivated in those who walk in step with the Spirit, not in the naturally quiet or passive, but in the submitted, in the Spirit governed, and the kingdom disciplined. So when Jesus says the meek shall inherit the earth, he is blessing those that are Spirit led, those that don't seize ground by force, but receive it by obedience. So now that we've fully established what meekness really is, we can actually look at the reversed form of that. So we're going to explore some phrasing options to capture the opposite spirit. It might be read something like, cursed are the defiant, for they will lose even what they grasp. You might read it as, woe to the self-exalting, for the earth will spit them out. You might even say, cursed are the ruthless, for they shall inherit wrath. Now, these reversals expose the lie of entitlement and the illusion of control. That those who claw for ground will keep it, or that those who dominate will reign forever. Those are lies. So the reversal exposed is that the meek will inherit what the violent cannot keep. But the proud, the forceful, the entitled, and the aggressive, the ones who bulldoze and manipulate and conquer by strength alone, they're going to find that the earth itself will reject their legacy. And this reversal is actually echoed in Psalms chapter 37, the very passage that Jesus is alluding to, that evildoers will be cut off, but that those who wait for the Lord will inherit the land. Psalm 37:9. So the true contrast is this: those who seize by force will fall by judgment, and those who trust God's timing will inherit what others tried to steal. So the true reversal of this beatitude is, cursed are those who grasp with unyielding hands, for the earth will not remember them. Or woe to the self-made and the ruthless, for they shall be uprooted from the land they claimed. Now see, this flips the inheritance language on its head. Rather than receiving the earth, they are removed from it. And rather than legacy, they gain oblivion. So the eternal context here is that the inheritance, my friends, is coming. See, the world mocks this beatitude precisely because it appears to be false in the short term. We look around at our world and the proud do rule. The ruthless do rise. The violent do inherit for now. But this is where Jesus' words take root, not in present power, but in eternal dominion. Because you see, people scoff at this verse because they judge it by what they see right now, and they point to the powerful, the arrogant, they point to the self-made emperors of earth, and they say, see, the meek inherit nothing. The strong own everything. But Jesus wasn't speaking about momentary control. He was speaking of the final inheritance, the true earth, the one that remains when all others burn. The meek may not rule Wall Street or Hollywood, but when the sky splits and the king returns, they will reign with him. See, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 2 says, do you not know that we will also reign with him? I'm sorry, that was 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12. It says, if we endure, we'll reign with him. And then Revelations 20, verse 6 says, and they shall reign with him for 1,000 years. The 1 Corinthians chapter 6 was, do you not know that the saints will inherit the world? So you see, these are three scriptures, 1 Corinthians, 2 Timothy, and Revelation, that all speak of us reigning with him. So the empires of men one day will crumble, and the meek will still be standing. You see, the earth that matters, the one that Christ himself will restore, belongs to those who bowed low when others tried to climb high. Now, the prophetic implication here is that the spirit of this age teaches dominate, it teaches demand, it teaches assert, it teaches build your platform, protect your ground. But Jesus says the meek will inherit the earth. And those who build empires on arrogance will watch their kingdoms turn to dust. So now's the moment in this video where I'm going to ask you to look inward and ask yourself, am I trying to seize what God has not yet given? Have I mistaken meekness for weakness in others or in myself? Am I striving for position or surrendering to promise? See, the ground belongs to the bowed, and the future belongs to the patient, and the kingdom belongs to those whose strength is crucified. So I say to you today, put down your sword of striving, because your strength cannot seize what only surrender inherits. So let go of your grip. You cannot force what only the meek will inherit.